Network. How is everyone? Here we go. Our guest tonight is producer, writer, and actress Christy Crandall. How are you, Christy?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Good to see you. Okay, so you are an up and coming filmmaker, but you've acted in a number of roles. Um, let's start with one of your earlier ones. You had a role in the Do Over
Yes,
on Netflix's The Do Over, the Adam Sandler film.
yes, I did. That was fun. It was I started out as a background actress, and that was one of the gigs that I got, and it was just fantastic to sit there and look at such great talent sitting in front of me.
Yeah, this it's true. There's a lot of big actors actually started as extras.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis and Tobin Bell were both extras in the Verdict with Paul Newman. My friend Ari actually has been in a lot of big things with like Liam Neeson and Liam Neeson's son and The Rock and what's his name from Usual Suspects, but he's worked with a lot of big Ron Perlman and other people too. And he started as a background actor in like Robin Williams films, some of Liam Neeson's films. Also, who else started as well, yeah, but there was another one I'm trying to remember. But there's another one I know, Alex Esso, who's been in like a lot of some Stephen King pieces, and Mike Flanagan's like Midnight Mass and Haunting of Bly
Mhm.
Manor. She was an extra in a film too. Like you'd be surprised how big even extras can get. So never limit yourself for that. Definitely. Like I'm not an actor. I belong behind the camera, not in front of the camera. This is one of the few instances I'll put myself in front of the camera.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you have any? Just FYI, I have Tourette syndrome, so it's been a little rough with the allergies.
Oh,
So
sure.
that's my Tourette's. Um, have you have any behind the scenes stories of that film? Any behind the scenes stories from that film in particular?
Not from that one. Well, the scream. There's a scene where a woman has to scream at the hospital, and so they lined us all up, and they were like telling everybody to scream, and we all had to scream one at a time down the row to see who had the best scream. And I didn't make it, but the woman that did, her name was Sheila, and she did phenomenal, and she got the role for that. So she had a feature moment there, and she got to scream as the guy was walking in the hospital.
Wait, so she signed on to be an extra, and
Yeah,
then they drop on the group of extras. So one of you will be able to get this specific role, and that's
exactly.
pretty cool. That's interesting. I feel like that doesn't happen a lot during on days when they have a bunch of extras. Like, oh yeah, so we're gonna need one of you to do something specific. So let's rate all of you. That's interesting. That sounds like that like fun. Like it's almost like a contest while you're already working with, that's cool.
Right, it is. It's just a lot of fun just doing it. I did about 30 different films. Um,
Really?
yeah, I was living in Savannah at the time, Savannah, Georgia, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of film work out there.
I had a friend who went to school down there. I think she went to an art school, but
Yeah,
they also that school also did like other types of not just painting, but all types of fields and theatrical, all that's musical, all that stuff. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I was living there for quite a while, 8 years, and I retired from the army out of there. And
Really?
yeah, I was in the army for 20 plus years. Um, so when I got out, my children wanted to be models.
20?
Yes.
You no, I like you. You don't look like I thought you were. No, I just like I don't. It's hard to yeah. It's like how some people just look good for their like. I'm 35. I don't. Nobody believes me. So
Wow.
like I didn't. I when you said 20 years, it
Yeah.
caught me off guard.
And I
So
got out like 10 years ago. So,
okay, wow.
but at any rate, no, I retired from the army, and a friend of mine was doing some headshots of my children, and he recommended that we try background acting. And I'm like, well, what's that? I didn't know. And so he went ahead and he kind of showed me the way on how to do it. And the next thing you know, I was in Siren, my first film, and I was background. That was great because we got to run through the house and scream.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So did your kids get any parts?
Yeah, we did Vice Principals with HBO series. My son got into that. My daughter was in Gifted. Just a plethora of different ones. It just became a family affair for a while until I got bored with sitting around waiting, and then I decided I wanted to be behind the camera.
Wow. Oh, but the vice principals, that's a big deal. And also Gifted. Those are both big deals.
Yeah.
Did your kids stick to it? I mean, how old were they when they started?
Oh gosh. My oldest was 13 when he started. I have four. And my youngest, my youngest didn't do it, but my daughter was probably about 8, I think, at the time when she started. And we did one. It was called Detour by Samantha Bee, and we were out on the beach. And there's this beach scene where she gets to dig in the sand all day long, and it was just the best thing for her because she just forgot what was going on around her and was just making sandcastles all day. So it was a lot of fun.
Do
But
any of your kids still do it?
no, my daughter's kind of migrated towards TikTok. She does a lot of content on TikTok, cosplaying, those sort of things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my son went into the music world. He plays saxophone. So everyone kind of just dispersed different directions.
But all in the like artistic fields for the most
Yeah.
part. No, that's great. That's great. And then their mothers and one, they're all in their own. And no, but that's great. Maybe one day you could all some of you could collab. They could, you guys, they could, your kids could collab with you on some stuff at some point.
Sure. Yeah.
So tell us a little about your films. Well, you have produced and written some films, but you've also acted in some of them, but you've also acted in other people's, but you have acted in some of your own films.
Right. So there's one that it's called Pretty Big Girl, and it was written by Laura Ann Heaton Gray, but we kind of got together on doing it. I was producer director. She was the main actress. And there's a scene where I'm walking down the street with her, and I got to act in that. But almost all the films that I do, I have a little cameo and I'm in it somehow. It's just kind of like a fun thing to do, you know. We did Woke, and that one I was one of the wake people there, one of the people that was in attendance to the event. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, each one that I've done, I've been in it, except for My Brother's Keeper.
Right. That one you executive produced, I believe.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I did the executive producing. It was my first film, and I got tired of background acting, and I decided I wanted to make something. And I met a woman named Simone, and she just took me under her wing and taught me everything that I know. And so next thing I know, we're producing this film together, and it won a Telly Award. It won the Christian Film Festival for 2016. It went to Cannes Film Festival and a number of other film festivals. It was really rewarding just because it was like my first effort at doing something creative, and it went really well.
That's great. And it looked like a what's it called, big budget considering the area. Really?
No. I don't know exactly how much was spent, but it was well under 50.
And the kids' performances were wow. Like I didn't see the full film yet, but like those kids were like. Can you tell us a little bit of how you went about casting that? Like how you found?
Sure, those kids are all our kids.
Really?
Yeah. So my son and my daughter are in it, and then some of the other children are children of the other like producers that were in the film. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a family affair.
That's great. And it took place. Could you tell everybody a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. It's a story about redemption. It's a story about two children that become best friends. And it happens to be that one's a slave and one's a slave owner, the children of, and they become best friends. And one teaches the other how to read over the Bible, using the Bible. And then they split up, and they each went their own paths. But in the end, one ends up in jail, and the other one ends up to be a preacher. And he comes and he brings redemption to his friend. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story. It was shot in Sunbury and right outside Savannah, Georgia.
It's not inspired by any true stories, is it? It seems like it
No,
would be.
no, it's completely fictional, but it's just a great story.
Well, yeah, it's like it seemed like a slavery, a film that takes place during the slave trade, the slavery in America, but it's almost like its own version of. I don't know if you know the story, The Boy with Striped Pajamas, but not depressing. It's more empowering and enlightening,
Oh, yes, and uplifting. Yep.
uplifting. That's the you see in the trailer. The whole it just looks straight up, yeah, uplifting. Um, but tell us about like the success with that one. Could you go in a little more detail about that?
Yeah, we went to it went to a number of film festivals, Sundance, South by Southwest, um, and it went to Cannes Film Festival in France. I didn't get to go to that. I wanted to, but I didn't get to go. But my partners could, and they went, and they had a great time. It was uncompetitive, but it's still just to have your film shown in Cannes was amazing. Oh my gosh! So I was very proud of that project. Very, very proud.
Any excuse to go to France.
I know.
Yeah. So wait, you said it went to Sundance as well.
Uh-huh. It went to Sundance. It went to a bunch of them. Tribeca. Um, a number of them. I don't know all of them. So
Did you make it to any of the film festivals
we
yourself?
went to South by Southwest.
You went to
I
South
went,
by Southwest.
yeah, love that place. I love it. Love
That's
Austin.
great. That's great. So woke. So did at first, I didn't fully. I was trying to place. I thought, were you which character you were? I'm not. I can't say anything obviously because I don't want to ruin it. But it's very interesting because I went in thinking it was one type of film, and then because the name, and I realized, wow, this is. And I was intrigued regardless, and then I realized, wait, that's an interesting play on the word. And then I watched the film and I'm like, this is not what I suspected. And it was dark. It was dark.
Yeah.
And it's also sad because it's realistic that way. Could you tell us what inspired? Did you write that one?
No, Laura Ann Heaton Gray wrote that. Well, actually, we co-wrote it. It was out of she wrote most of it though. It was out of a 48-hour film festival that we did. And we sat down one night and we were sitting with this other guy and he was coming up with crazy stories about Batman and we can write about this and that. I'm like, no. So we ended up kicking everybody out. We sat down on my bed and we wrote it. And it's a beautiful story, but it is very dark. I don't mind sharing about it. It's about a wake, and there's a woman that is there and she doesn't realize she's watching all around her and seeing everybody like mourn the loss of someone. And then someone comes in and she has a flashback and she remembers what happened, a car accident, and she died. And it was her own wake that this happened at. So it's very kind of like, you didn't expect the ending. It was really great. We won the film festival for it, got the little award and all that fun stuff. But
it's what I like about it is it's very Sixth Sense-ish, but like esque, but at the same time it's its own thing, and also you're not even looking for a twist. So you're like expecting, people are just depressed at this sad time, that the mother just doesn't want to talk about it, the father doesn't want to talk about it, so the daughter who's trying to talk to them is not really there. She's there, but they can't see her.
mm-hmm.
And that's why she doesn't remember that she's the one who died, and she almost looks like clueless. And then like when her boyfriend or her was sitting there, and it's like I'm like, why did she react that way? And like you're not even thinking about it. Like why is her reaction like that? Why does she react that like surprised, and then it all comes together at the end. But I like how the name itself hid, like almost like it's misleading, but in a good way, because it's almost like just in a great storytelling way. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But also Pretty Big Girl. Can you tell us a little bit more about that film? And by the way, with that shot, and tell us about that shot that you or working with that actress. Who was the actress again?
Laura Ann Heaton Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She actually wrote the story. It's been something that she had in her mind for many, many years. And it's a story about a young woman that struggles with weight and self-esteem. And a lot of it has to do with, as she was growing up, she was constantly being beaten down for her weight. Well, she ends up meeting a man and they fall in love. And he believes in her and is in love with her for who she is. So it's a story about her finding herself and building her own self-esteem through him. And it's a beautiful story. And we filmed that in Huntsville, Alabama, of all places. And we had a really good time of it. There's one scene where I'm walking down the sidewalk with her and we're kind of laughing and talking. And that's my little cameo. But that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to do.
That was the tracking shot down the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Was there any you also you were on the writing team at all, you said, or a producer on that, or it was just the
I was
role?
the producer director for that, so
Right.
I was able to do the production itself and kind of help direct. I was co-directing with Tommy Wood, who was also cinematographer. We all had multiple, jobs.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any hand in writing it at all?
No, not in that one. No, I do a lot of writing on my own, but I haven't made a film yet of my own.
But you produced what except for My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper was one that I was executive producer on.
Producer, right? But I also wanted to ask regarding what about Pretty Big Girl. That I feel like whoever wrote that had a great purpose with it, because I feel like that's a film that could reach a lot of people, that applies to a lot of people, whether it be fat, not fat, whether they feel that they're fat or they're overweight, that they feel self-conscious about it, and they think, oh, people call them fat, and like I'm ashamed of it, and like, but that's not how you should look at it. Or somebody feels they're too skinny, or they're scrawny when people are big and muscular, or so I like that. Or anybody with any, what's the word? You
mean when their self-esteem is down?
So it's not just self-esteem, but like when they have they feel what?
Self-perception.
Like a bad self-perception because of they're jealous, or they're bullied, or because their self-perception is because they whatever reason, whether they've been bullied or they have their own image of themselves, regardless of what other people say. So I feel it's an important film, and I would love to see that get out more. Did that get to any festivals? The Pretty Big Girl?
To a couple different festivals. I don't recall the names of them right now, but it did really well. It's only a trailer teaser, so
really?
Yeah, it's a proof of concept, so it's not a full film. We're looking for the investor to help us make the full film, and kind of get that story out there.
I think it is an important film for them to make. I really do think it is, because you have like even that dance scene, her trying to dance. It's almost like a step-up movie in a sense, but for somebody who struggles with their own their image, their confidence, and I think, but it's not just some dancing art movie. It's about the self,
Right.
And I have Tourette's, and they've done a movie about people with Tourette's like that, autism, cerebral palsy. I think it's about time we do more about somebody who, because of whether it be their weight or their urge to become muscular or whatever. It's something where they feel self-conscious about something about them, that they want to grow, not just physically, but mentally, psychologically, and emotionally, most of all. Because that, sometimes physical, changing our physical, like all of it is healthy. changing our psyche, but also changing how we physically are, could really help us grow in other ways. It's all, vice versa, how we grow. So I would love to see that film really get out there. And you directed, produced it, and acted in it. So I'd love to see that become more, and that way you could, that would be your next project. But so you said you've been writing a lot of other stories recently, screenplays, books, in
Well,
addition to the.
I'm writing a story. It's a little bit about myself. It's about how it is to be a woman in the military. And in saying that, women have different experiences. Like, for example, like the medical field in the military is predominantly women. So they're going to have a different experience than a woman in field artillery units, like I was. So I'm writing it from my perspective, what it was like to be in a man's army.
Is it a memoir, in a sense?
In a sense, yes. Yes. But it's it's fictional. It's got some facts to it, but most of it is just like the story of, this young girl that goes through the military and grows and learns to not necessarily be the strong combative warfighter, but becomes the more compassionate one that helps others to move their mountains.
So you took your experience and turning into it almost like a historical, like a true nonfiction, in a sense. Like, it's like a relevant and accurate nonfiction story of through the point of view of a girl, but using your experience. I love that. I love that. So is it a series of stories of experiences? Is it her journey through the whole of working in a man's army as a woman?
It started out as a bunch of short stories, and then I've been sewing them together.
Nice.
So different experiences, and then having Phil to bring the stories together. Because I will tell you, it was very difficult. It was very, very challenging. It's kind of funny, the military, we've got a bunch of different branches. We got armor, we got field artillery, we got medical and dental and finance and everything. And I was in human resources AG. So that meant I can get stationed just about any unit. And I got to experience different cultures within the military. So you see that some people are like, the armor people were more of a laid back crew than the field artillery that were like always on point. There was no margin for error, no room for mistake. Because when you're shooting off that MLRS rocket, you have to hit the target or you're dead. So it's kind of the mindset that they have, and they expected every product from every asset that was working with them to have that same approach. So even in human resources, it always had to be just right, perfect, first time. So that was a challenge, but I did it, and I loved it. I loved it.
That's great. I give you a lot of credit for that. Like, and also I love when there's diversity in anything, but especially in the army. What was there? What you're saying? Because there was people of different backgrounds. Is what you meant culturally, or you more meant lifestyle?
No, we call it army cultures, where it's each branch has a different. It's kind of like on a larger scale. You compare the Army to the Air Force to the Navy.
Right.
Within the military, within the Army, you compare the branches as well. So some of them are more easygoing than others.
Yeah, I could see that.
That arms unit, then they're going to be more aggressive.
And obviously, a medic is not going to be as aggressive. A medic team is going to be as aggressive as an arms team, or yeah.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Now, combat medics may argue with me, but
well, they also medics do have to place themselves in the front lines, in the sense that they're putting themselves in danger, treating people in the front lines, obviously, but they have to work quickly and not smoothly, I guess you could say, in addition to quickly. So I would love to see that happen. That there's been a number of big filmmakers and who've done stuff like that taken their stories and turning them into books, but to turn them into movies is not as common. So that would be something to do to like shake things up a bit, to do something different.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, well, I forgot who it was, Tim Russert maybe. He had a book where he wrote the stories of his father, and then people sent the stories of their fathers, and he made a whole book of other people's stories, like mine, life-changing stories. So who knows? Maybe you'll have other people send you their stories similar to your experiences, and maybe one day you'll put a book together of other people's and in relation to yours. You never know.
Love that. I would love that. Yes.
You just listen, just stick to it. Never, because that's something that's unique. That's something, and to have a woman have such a book like that and have a book like that come out and be successful would be something beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so tell us, there was another film you did a voiceover.
Yeah. So that was
Corporate voiceover.
Corporate voiceover. Yep. It was called The Tag Conspiracy. It was shot here in San Antonio, and I was the voiceover in the background of it for the corporate voice. So it was like imagine, a speaker system giving out announcements. It was like that, but it was more of like, about the city itself.
Okay.
Rules that they had to do, and things like that. It was a lot of fun. It was hard because I had to sit there with a microphone and I had to do it over and over and over until I got it spot on, just right. And there was a lot of verbiage.
Well, I feel like in voice acting, that's a very common tedious task that might that would go on for a while.
Yeah.
So do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on that you'd love to talk about, or that you can talk about?
There's one, but I can't really talk about it because it's still under production.
Okay.
But I just my writing right now, and I'm working on my next like whatever gig is out there for me. So looking right now.
Could you tell us a little bit about what stuff you're writing without giving away anything anything too much, or?
Sure. I mean, I have like some of the stuff. Most of it's military related.
Okay.
I write stories about the challenges of PTSD and MST, things that have happened to people in the military that they suffer with today, how it got them to where they are today. I'm integrating. I have a whole series of stories about the VA as well. Now, the VA, a lot of people have kind of knocked it and said, the VA is awful, but I haven't had that experience.
What is the VA?
Veterans Affairs. So when you retire, you are taken care of by the VA. And a lot of people have experienced challenges, and it may just be where they are in the nation, but my experiences have been pretty good. So a lot of them is just how the PTSD crosses over and how the care is with the VA now. And it's in a storytelling format. So, but it's just stories from the military and, times when we went out and did different things and had a lot of fun. I was enlisted first. I did 7.5 years enlisted, and that was more fun than being an officer. I had a good time both sides, but I think I really enjoyed being enlisted.
That's great. I love that. I was going to ask, it's just almost like going to college and going out like the things you got to do in between like duty. Like, I went to this party with friends, smoked some hookah, like all those like when people go to school in far away or go like boarding school, whatever it is. Just, the way you said it sounded like that. I love that. Like it's not just it's not all work, it's not all hard ass training and all that stuff. You really get to enjoy yourself in addition to enjoying yourself. So do you have any behind the scenes stories for us from any of the films you've worked on, even some of the background stuff, or even some of the stuff you've worked, the background work you've done? Can you tell us a little? I know you said you moved on from that and went into filmmaking. But do you have what other films have you done, and do you have any stories for us? I guess.
That's funny. I don't really have a whole lot of background stories other than there was a lot of sitting around and a lot of waiting.
I hear that.
But I'm actually writing one of my stories with the it's a true story. Can I tell it?
Yeah, please.
It's a military story, but so I used to do a lot of casualty duty in the Army. And casualty duty is when you step in and you help take care of the family after their soldier has passed away. There was one experience, and I wrote about it, and there was one experience where the Patriot Guard, which is a motorcycle group, showed up, and we were going to the place of interment with, the hearse was behind us and all this other stuff, or in front of us. We were behind it, and the Patriot Guard, which is a motorcycle group, was leading the hearse to the cemetery. And it was raining that day. Oh my gosh, it was raining, just pouring down rain. And the family kept joking, and they were saying, "Oh, that's just Ray. He's making fun of us, and he's trying to, play jokes and things like that." So we get to the cemetery, and the Patriot Guard parks a distance away. And I had planned this funeral to the tiniest degree. I mean, it was going to be perfect. And everything went well. I mean, the 21 gun salute, the bishop spoke, the flag was presented, everything was perfect. And as the bishop said his last words, there was like this pause. It was this heavy, heavy pause. And all of a sudden, music starts to play. Music. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? It was a country song. It was like a love song. I'm like, what is going on? On my picture perfect little funeral, and it was loud. And I look up, and there's this Patriot guard guy just sprinting as fast as he can go towards his bike because it had shorted in the rain and dried out enough. And I cut back on, and it was blaring this music. So he went over there and he turned it down real slow, and he was mortified. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So I went up to the widow and I said, Janelle, I'm so sorry. And she said, for what? And I said, for the music. And she's just looked at me like quizzically, and she was like, what are you talking about? I thought you planned that. I said, no. And she said, well, that's strange because that's Ray's favorite song.
That's wow.
Coincidences happen. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. I would say it's just, the universe, God, however you believe, stepping in and saying a final goodbye to her. It was their love song from their wedding. And it was just really strange how it played. Right.
I think it's more meaningful that you didn't plan that. Yeah. Because that when she realized that, because she really felt Ray's presence there. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's amazing.
Beautiful story.
That is something I feel like you could also adapt like that. I mean, I don't know how the family would feel about that, but something like that. A story of a film where, a powerful, like, or even like, let's say, I'm just thinking of things that like, no, it just hit me. It just took me off guard. I love those stories.
Yeah.
Where like, it's like, it makes you gives you the chills, but the good chills.
Yeah. And it absolutely happened. And, there was more to the story before that, all the things that were coming together and strange things that happened. But that was just the ultimate thing for that song.
The kicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I've written about that one. And that's going to be part of my whole script. So I'm excited.
In the book in the story you were that you were writing, the one you mentioned about, that's sort of like the girl's journey through being in a man's army.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. What's it called? So yeah, no, that's amazing. Do you have any other things that you're able to bring up, or it's just you're really restricted to what you can say now in terms of upcoming projects or anything you're planning or that you're working on to get out, or can you bring up anything else? Or
right now, honestly, I'm just working on focusing. Like all my focus is going in on this book.
I got you.
it's just it takes a lot of time, and I don't like to sit at a computer and type. I use
Right.
voice to text.
Ah, oh, I know that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I will talk to my phone and it will write it in the notes page, and then I'll just bring it over to my computer. And I just tell stories to myself, and it all comes together. Then you got to go back and clean it up and rewrite and do a lot of work with it. And that just takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, but it's inspiring even for me, There's different things that happen with the military that I'm trying to incorporate as well. I mean, different people that I encountered that had challenges that I helped them overcome. Um, and it's just a matter of getting it all out. And it's going to be beautiful.
I'm speechless because I think that's we need more personable stories like that, not just written but told visually, told in film, or whether it be short, long, whether it be a TV show. I just love the more personable stories adapted to cinema.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking, yeah, Michelle Dedrick. Yes, we do. What's it called? But you is also here. There was you were in the movie called The Lady Lawman. Why does that sound familiar?
It was on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. I was a background in that as well. I was a townsperson, but it was a lot of fun because it's what I love is these little crews, the smaller ones, not the ginormous ones that have 100 so people working for them, but the ones that are like, under 20
Compact.
people, and everybody just pitches in and does everything. And I had a lot of fun on that one, just watching the actors go through their motions, just doing all the stuff I was supposed to do. Um, some fun scenes. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
That's great. I love that. What's it called? You should have IMDb update your page, because I think there's a lot of films that even the extra work. You should definitely have them update your page, or you should definitely. You just don't want it on there?
Background work, background work is kind of frowned on.
Really?
To put on IMDb because it's uncredited.
Oh, okay.
You're not credited for it. You don't fit into like a role, like, best boy
Yeah.
or PA or whatever, actor or main actor. So I think one ended up on there. I think the do-over ended up on there, but all the other ones I've done have not, which is good. You kind of want to, it's your resume. So you don't want to have a lot of
You don't want everything. Yeah.
Fluff
Excess stuff. Yeah.
that really doesn't count towards, and it does. I mean, background people are vital to any film, but
that's not what you're focusing on, though. You're right.
Yeah. So I
admire that.
That's like tangible that I've done.
Yeah, I admire that you want to focus on, because especially between there's the performance and then there's the technical field, and you want the performance on the technical field, and you want to be more recognized for your technical, the creative, not technical, creative, experience, the producing, the directing, the writing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hear that. Agreed 100%. Do you have any projects you're looking you would, or any type of projects, productions you would like to be a part of?
Yes, there's films out there that are being created, written, whatever. I would love to be part of anything that is military related that kind of showcases women, because more often than not, you've got the combat, blow them up, everybody dies in the end, videos, movies, and it's not an accurate depiction of what the military is truly like on a day-to-day basis.
You want it more like, I guess, Hill Street Blues approach to a cop show, meaning a real life accurate depiction of what it's like on an army base, as opposed to what everybody thinks it's like.
Exactly. And that way you can get rid of like the the shows that, are
Stereotypes.
stereotypes. Yes.
I hear that. I hear that. But in addition to that, what kind of projects interest you? What kind of productions interest you?
Drama.
What is yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. I like drama and suspense. Horror, I tend to stay away from.
Okay.
Um, just because I'm an empath, and so I kind of feel what's going on. I'm like, no, I can't. But yeah, I like drama and suspense, things that kind of make you think.
Yes. So what but in that, not just the genre, I guess, but in the how do I put this? In what type of story and what would you be your ideal goal to write and direct, to produce and write, to or like to be able to tell your story. So I assume you want to tell the story, but you a lot of writers don't always direct their films. But you also want to tell your own story. So
Well,
you'd want to balance that, I guess.
I would want to write and direct it, even though that's not
Right.
very common. I would want to write
Still
it
happens.
and make
Still
it
happens.
as accurate as possible. If not acting it as well. I know
Mhm.
that's taking on a lot, but I just think that if I'm going to write something, I want it to be like the production value to be really good. I want it to be as accurate as possible. I want it to be true to my story.
Right.
And I think that, if I just write it and then give it away, you know what happens? They add in the combat, they add in all the crazy stuff, they add in all the stuff that didn't happen. And then next thing you know, it's not even your story. So,
It's when you sell the rights over.
yeah. Yeah. I don't think I do that.
But I admire that you're stick. You know what you want, and you don't want somebody to take that away from you, and you're setting your not just principle, but you're putting your foot down in terms of like not
Yeah.
yet, but I'm saying you know what you want, and you're going for that, but also not just in terms of the army. Like what kind of um obviously you like to direct, you like to produce, but you like to write. But let's say you were in another person's project and they wanted to hire you to direct or produce.
Mhm.
What kind of stuff would you? What kind of types of stories? Not necessarily genres, but genres too.
I get you. I understand
Yeah,
your question. Women empowerment.
it's
I
personable to you.
It is. It's something I relate to. It's something I believe in, and it's something that I think I'd be good at. Um, I think as well. Eventually, one day, I would love to be a motivational speaker. But I think the
You can
thing
still
is,
do that and make films.
I know. I'm trying.
And then you don't have to do one or the other. You could do both.
Yeah. But I think the thing is that a lot of people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can actually accomplish things in life. They see other people do it and they say, "I wish I could," or "Oh wow, that's really great." Um but you can't. The truth of the matter is you can. You can move your mountains. You can do anything you want to put your mind to. And I'm from a small town in California. I mean, I was in the military, ran around for a while, did all kinds of great stuff, got out, and I decided to be a filmmaker. Whereas a lot of people are like looking at me from my small town and they're like, "How did you get there?" And I'm like, "It's just one step at a time. You got to believe in yourself. You got to do what it is that you want to do and make it happen because no one's going to make it happen for you." And so that's where I'm at today. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to be 50 next month. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not even started. I got so many different ideas and goals and dreams that, it's like in the morning when I wake up, I'm inspired to get up because I have goals and there's things I want to accomplish, things I want to do. And I get up and I just attack the day and I do them. There's no
Amen.
time there's no time to sit around and lament over what you messed up or what you wish you had done, you know?
Definitely motivationally speaking here. That's for sure.
I didn't mean it to go that direction, but
No, but that's great. When you didn't mean to and it still did, that makes it even better. Like sort
well,
of like when you didn't mean to have the music played at the funeral, but it played, that made it even more powerful because
yeah,
and meaningful.
yeah.
Wow. No, that's
Because you
great.
have all you have is this moment. I mean, you don't. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Anything can happen. So it's like make every day count. Make it count. And I'm not saying don't take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. If you want to take a nap. But the thing is that you have valuable time on your hands, and everybody's creative in their own way. Everybody's talented in their own way. And I just think it's just, I don't know, exciting to be able to live these dreams, you know? Just do them.
I love that. I love that. I actually, so before we close up, I want you to please give your any social media you have, but also if you're any projects that you're looking for somebody to assist you on, or like any productions, or if you want to give out your any social media pages, any work pages,
Yeah.
uh, digitally or locate, anything. Please go ahead.
Well, I'm on IMDb, but it looks like it needs to be updated.
Don't quote me on that.
Oh, yeah. And of course, I've got all the social media platforms. I've got Instagram. I've got Facebook as Christy Crandall. Um, I'm working on a website to make for myself, and I'm just writing. I'm just keeping busy.
And you're really pushing forward with that women in the army, in a man's army story that I would love, or series of stories that I would love to see happen. And especially like not just, but I assume you're telling it from the different roles you've played, not because you said you you also worked as, what was it, the VA, in the VA's department, or
No,
no?
no. When I got out, the VA started taking care of me,
Okay.
and I've had good experiences there as well. So
But the role when that guy passed away and you were assisting
oh,
the
casualty duty.
casualty duty, right? I'm
I
sorry,
did a
that's what it
number of
was.
those. Yeah, I've got a lot of stories with that. So
Yeah, so I would love to see that happen. And please do stay in touch. If you ever, I do photography and videography and video editing. So if you ever need an extra hand, and doing this in the East Coast, Northeast, I'd be happy to assist if you need me. So do stay in touch.
all right, I love it. Thank you.
For sure. Yeah. And thank you, Michelle. Michelle says, thank you. Great show. We should appreciate that, Michelle. But and so you have IMDb, you have Twitter, Instagram, you said Twitter
Uh-huh.
as well. And you have Facebook.
Yeah.
Can we see your work on any sites that you can
Other than
share, or
IMDb,
publicly?
I'm working on my website that's going to have all that stuff on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything on public like YouTube, Vimeo that you could share, or not, or that's public that you could
Sure.
announce?
Woke is on YouTube, as well as Pretty Big Girl trailer teaser. That's on YouTube.
The concept teaser, right?
Uh-huh.
That you mentioned? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. My Brother's Keepers on christiancinema.org. Yeah, that's just a few of them right there.
Great. And then we have, I'm not going to even go into the do-over, but like that's still great. That like to get a role in that would be just even an extra role. But like, I'm sorry you didn't get the screaming role. That would have been fun.
It would have been fun.
If I got paid to scream, I'd have a lot of, I'd be a millionaire. So is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody? Everybody before we sign off, or is there anything else you'd like to relay? Any other information? Yeah, please just speak freely. Say anything you want. Tell us if you want to, if you want to work with anybody, either where they work with you, or if you're looking to hire anybody for a future job, or if you're just looking for people in the industry to work with.
Sure. Well, once I get these scripts done and the book written, everything's completed, then I'll be looking for a whole bunch of different people and creatives to bounce the ideas off with. And I want to make it into a film. And of course, I'm going to be looking for the best, the most talented, the ones that support the military, support what soldiers do on a day-to-day basis. So I'll be looking.
I know that's great. Would you consider like for the role hiring actual soldiers, maybe even veterans, giving your what was it? Would you say colleagues or what would be the word? A chance to
Colleagues,
colleagues.
I think a lot of these roles that I have when I'm telling the story, I want the actual person there.
Real? Oh, that's great.
Yep. Yeah.
Doesn't have to necessarily be actors. You want the actual.
Mm-mm.
I love that.
Just be themselves. Yeah.
Are you thinking an interview approach even to some stories, maybe even like almost like a documentary style, maybe if not in this approach, not this story, another story or another
That's a
future
great
production.
idea. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, like you could even have them tell it and have somebody else reenact it, like almost
Mhm.
like one of those. But like, there's so many. What's great about this field is that there's so many ways to approach the same goal. There's
Yeah,
so many different styles. That's great about having a creative freedom, especially as a woman, and it's important, especially now that there's a lot of feminism and feminine, growing in a very unfortunately too for too long man controlled industry. So I would love to see more of that, especially when it's in such a particular and specific field as the army, or
yeah.
the combatant field. What I mean is like people who fight for a cause,
I
not
understand.
just not protesting, but like literally fight.
Hmm. I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, if that's it, is that it? Is there anything else you'd like to say, or
I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate being on your show. I had a great
sure?
time.
Sure, and do stay in touch. Hopefully, I'll maybe I'll share this around, and maybe will hopefully this will make have some people reach out. Who knows? Yeah. But do keep me updated on the progress of Pretty Big Girl because I would love to see that grow.
Okay.
It's yeah, but be in touch and pleasure having you on, Christy, and
Mhm.
yeah, we'll talk. We'll be in touch. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure having you on. Have a great night. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. Be well.
All
Bye.
right.